Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Day 5. Last day. We've finished it. We did it. Well, we will have finished it. As a Man Thinketh, James Allen. We did it. We did it, team. We read this whole book this whole week. My neighbors have a bowling alley upstairs, if you can hear that. Moving on. The last 2 chapters of As a Man Thinketh by James Allen are titled Visions and Ideals and Serenity. Here we go, finishing the last part of As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Visions and Ideals. The dreamers are the saviors of the world. I'm already sold. The dreamers are the saviors of the world. Mark Rodriguez, you're live. I'm here. You're here. How are you? It's so good to see you. As you have noticed, I have not been on Clubhouse. I had to take a sabbatical, but we'll talk about that later. Okay. Visions and Ideals. Back to business. The dreamers are the saviors of the world. As the visible world is sustained by the invisible, so men, through their trials and sins and sordid vocations, are nourished by the beautiful visions of their solitary dreamers. Humanity cannot forget its dreamers. It cannot let their ideals fade and die. It lives in them. It knows them as the realities, which it shall one day see and know. Composer, sculptor, painter, poet, prophet, sage, these are the makers of the afterworld, the architects of heaven. The world is beautiful because they have lived. Without them, laboring humanity would perish. He who cherishes a beautiful vision, a lofty ideal in his heart, will one day realize it. Do you hear that? He who cherishes a beautiful vision, a lofty ideal in his heart, will one day realize it. Columbus cherished a vision of another world, and he discovered it. Copernicus fostered the vision of a multiplicity of worlds and a wider universe, and he revealed it. Buddha beheld the vision of a spiritual world of stainless beauty and perfect peace, and he entered into it. Cherish your visions. Cherish your ideals. Cherish the music that stirs in your heart, the beauty that forms in your mind, the loveliness that drapes your purest thoughts. For out of them will grow and all delightful conditions, all heavenly environment of these. If you but remain true to them, your world will be at last built. That is just straight up poetry. Cherish your visions. Cherish your ideals. Cherish the music that stirs in your heart, the beauty that forms in your mind, the loveliness that drapes your purest thoughts. For out of them will grow all delightful conditions, all heavenly environment. Of these, if you but remain true to them, your world will at last be built. To desire is to obtain. Ooh, them's some strong words, James Allen. To desire is to obtain. To aspire is to achieve. Shall man's basest desires receive the fullest measure of gratification, and his purest aspirations starve for lack of sustenance? Let's read that again. Shall a man's basest, lowest desires receive the fullest measure of gratification and fulfillment, and his purest aspirations, the biggest goals, starve for lack of focus and attention? Such is not the law. Such a condition of things can never obtain. Ask and receive. Such is not the law. Such a condition of things can never obtain. Ask and receive. Dream lofty dreams, and as you dream, so shall you become. Your vision is the promise of what you shall one day be. I have this written. I forgot where I got this from. Oh, I have it above my desk. Listen to this. Your vision is the promise of what you shall one day be. Your ideal is the prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. Your vision, is the promise of what you shall one day be. Your ideal is the prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. The greatest achievement was at first and for a time a dream. The oak sleeps in the acorn, the bird waits in the egg, and in the highest vision of the soul, a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of realities. Oh my God, I remember why I love this book. Your circumstances may be uncongenial, but they shall not long remain so if you but perceive an ideal and strive to reach it. You cannot travel within and stand still without. Know thyself, within, go within. The kingdom of heaven is within. God is within us. The universe is within us. Oof. You cannot travel within and stand still without. So you cannot go inside, truly spend time and go inside, and then have nothing change on the outside. It's impossible. You cannot travel within and stand still without. Here is a youth hard-pressed by poverty and labor, confined to long hours, in an unhealthy workshop, unschooled and lacking all the arts of refinement. Okay, so I went through here and I changed all the pronouns to say she instead of he because I was reading it for myself. I read this over and over. I'll read it both for she and he. I'll start with she. So it says, think of yourself when I read this. Here is a youth hard-pressed by poverty and labor, confined long hours in an unhealthy workshop, unschooled and lacking of the arts of refinement, all the arts of refinement. But she dreams of better things. She thinks of intelligence, of refinement, of grace and beauty. She conceives of, mentally builds up an ideal condition of life. The vision of a wider liberty and a larger scope takes possession of her. Unrest urges her to action, and she utilizes all her spare time and means, small though they are, in the development of her latent powers and resources. Very soon, so altered has her mind become that the workshop can no longer hold her. It has become so out of harmony with her mentality that it falls out of her life as a garment is cast aside, and with the growth of opportunities, which fit the scope of her expanding powers, she passes out of it forever. Years later, when we see this youth as a full-grown woman, we find her a master of certain forces of the mind, which she wields with worldwide influence and almost equaled power. In her hands, she holds the cords of gigantic responsibilities. She speaks, and lo, lives are changed. Men and women hang on her words and remold their characters, and, sun-like, she becomes the fixed and luminous center round which innumerable destinies revolve. She has realized the vision of her youth. She has become one with her ideal. That is just the most beautiful thing, and I'll read it again. He dreams of better things. He thinks of intelligence, of refinement, of grace and beauty. He conceives of, mentally builds up, an ideal condition of life. The vision of a wider liberty and a larger scope takes possession of him. Unrest urges him to action, and he utilizes all his spare time and means, small though they are, and develops the latent abilities of his power and resources. Very soon, so altered has his mind become that the workshop can no longer hold him. It has become so out of harmony with his mentality that it falls out of his life like a garment cast aside, and with the growth of opportunities, which fit the scope of his expanding powers, he passes out of it forever. Years later, we see this youth as a full-grown man. We find him a master of certain forces of the mind, which he wields with worldwide influence and most unequaled power. In his hands, he holds the cords of gigantic responsibilities. He speaks, and lo, lives are changed. Men and women hang on his every word and remold their characters, and, sun-like, he becomes the fixed and luminous center round which innumerable destinies revolve. He has realized the vision of his youth. He has become one with his ideal. And you too, youthful reader, will realize the vision, not the idle wish of your heart, be it base or beautiful, or a mixture of both. For you will always gravitate toward that which you secretly most love. For you, into your hands will be placed the exact result of your own thoughts. Into your hands will be placed the exact result of your own thoughts. You will receive that which you earn, no more, no less. Whatever your present environment may be, you will fall, remain, or rise with your thoughts. Whatever your present environment may be, you will fall. Let's really soak that in. Whatever your present environment may be, whatever's going on in your world right now, you will either fall, get worse, remain, things will stay the same, or you will rise, get better with your thoughts. Depending on your thoughts, your situation will either get worse, stay the same, or get better. And your thoughts determine that, of your experience of the situation. And then once your experience of the situation changes, the situation changes. It must. It's the law. I was saying this in a class. I said, how do things change? How does anything change? How does anything physical, any physical matter, how does it ever change? It either receives more focus, attention, and energy, and it changes, or it loses focus, attention, and energy, and it withers away and dies. And I was using the example of, think of your hometown or somewhere you grew up, and there's like an old abandoned building or a house that you're like, God, I remember when that was like a hoppin' restaurant, or like that house used to be nice. But through not giving it any attention, focus, or energy, it just withered away and got weeds in it and just is a beat up old, abandoned house. Or you look in areas where it's like, damn, they really built this place up. They gave it attention, energy, and focus, and they really built it up. But it's all through thoughts or lack of thoughts that will change it. Okay, so let me start again. Whatever your present environment may be, you will fall, remain, or rise with your thoughts, your vision, your ideal. You will become as small as your controlling desire, as great as your dominant aspiration. In the beautiful words of Stanton Kirkham Davis, you may be keeping accounts, and presently you shall walk out of the door that for so long has seemed to you the barrier of your ideals, and shall find yourself before an audience, the pen still behind your ear, the ink stains on your fingers, and then and there shall pour out the torrent of your inspiration. Oh, I remember this. This is for us, all of us that think we are still working on it. We're not ready yet. We have so much in us. We're just exploding. We think we're just going to, it's just not going to happen for us. But we know we have something inside of us to give, that we're going to be ready someday. But we already are ready. This is the day. In your mind, already go there. See yourself now. And this is the quote. You may be keeping accounts, and presently, and right now, you shall walk out of the door that for so long has seemed to you the barrier of your ideals, and shall find yourself before an audience, the pen still behind your ear, the ink stains on your fingers, and then and there shall pour out the torrent of your inspiration. You're already ready. Can you imagine being thrown on stage, like the stage, whatever your stage is of what you want to do? And you're like, no, I'm not even done writing. Nope, that's how it happens. You're ready already. Just do it. Whatever you have right now, just do it. Hell, look at me. I never had social media. Now I'm posting every day on Facebook. Hello. You may be driving sheep, and you shall wander to the city. Bucolic and open-mouthed shall wander under the intrepid guidance of the Spirit into the studio of the Master, and after a time he shall say, I have nothing more to teach you. And now you have become the master who did so recently dream of great things while driving sheep. You shall lay down the saw and the plane to take upon yourself the regeneration of the world. You shall lay down the saw and the plane to take upon yourself the regeneration of the world. The thoughtless and ignorant and the indolent, seeing only the apparent effects of things and not the things themselves. Let's start over. The thoughtless, the ignorant, and the indolent, seeing only the apparent effects, the people that are only living, myself included when I have my days, when we live from the outside in, meaning we let the outside world dictate. We wake up in the morning or go into any situation, we're like, how am I going to feel about this? You wait to see how things are, and then you have a reaction, rather than setting an intention, preparing your mind how you want it to go, visualizing how you want the day to go, how you want the meeting to go, how you want the date to go, how you want the day at work, the job to go, the performance to go, and then stepping into it. It doesn't matter. It's going to go. You are going to have a positive experience regardless of what is out of your control. Or it's saying here, the thoughtless, the ignorant, the indolent, seeing only the apparent effects. When we walk into a situation, we only see the wrong, what has already happened, and then we let that dictate our experience. We're a victim. We can't change anything. So the thoughtless, the ignorant, and the indolent, seeing only the apparent effects of things and not the things themselves, talk of luck and fortune and chance. Seeing a man grow rich, they say, how lucky he is. Observing another become intellectual, they exclaim, how highly favored he is. And noting the saintly character and wide influence of another, they remark, how chance aids him at every turn. They do not see the trials and failures and struggles which these men have voluntarily encountered in order to gain their experience, have no knowledge of this sacrifice, of the sacrifices they have made, of the undaunted efforts they have put forth, of the faith they have exercised, that they might overcome the apparent insurmountable and realize the vision of their heart. They do not know the darkness and the heartaches. They only see the light and the joy and call it luck. I mean, this was written over 100 years ago. How true is that? How often do you scroll through social media or see things on the news or see billboards or just even at work, whatever situation you're in, even if it's family or friends, and you look at others and you're like, oh, how lucky he is, how lucky she is. Wow, they must be highly favored. Luck, chance always helps them. No, you don't see the struggles and the failures and all of the undaunted efforts, all the exercise they put forth. We do that still. We do not know the darkness, the heartaches. We only see the light and joy and call it luck. We do not see the long and arduous journey, but only behold the pleasant goal and call it good fortune. Do not understand the process. We don't understand the process, but only perceive the result and call it chance. If you see someone successful, they're lucky. In all human affairs, there are efforts and there are results, and the strength of the effort is the measure of the result. Right? In all human affairs, there are efforts and there are results, cause and effect. And the strength of the effort is the measure of the result. Chance is not, period. Gifts, powers, material, intellectual, and spiritual possessions are the fruits of effort. They are thoughts completed, objects accomplished, visions realized. Right? When we look at anyone's gifts, whether they be intellectual, spiritual, or material, what's behind all those things? If they're truly righteous and good. But even so, when you see people who are so determined and will, it can go either way. They're using their mind rightly. in the sense of they're getting what they want. And in this book, it's talking about right thinking, true wealth, true riches, the kind of wealth that is with humility and grace and is giving. And when you're around them, you can feel it, because we all know those people who get money. They know how to, brute force. They know how to get it, but you just don't like to be around them. They're not good people. And usually it might take a long time, but the truth always comes out. The light always comes out. You hear those stories of people, ending up, they end up alone or just with no friends or the wrong group of friends. And truly, when they lay their head down at night, that's the determining factor of like, are you happy with yourself? When you're all by yourself, all alone, are you happy or not? That's true success. So it's not the things. The vision that you glorify in your mind, the ideal that you enthrone in your heart, this you will build your life by. This you will become. That's just like my little guy here that we always share. The vision that you glorify in your mind, hold and repeat over and over and over and over, that you enthrone or plant in your heart, subconscious mind, get emotionally involved with it. The vision that you glorify in your mind and the ideal that you enthrone in your heart, this you will build your life by. This you will become. That's so good. All right, you guys, this is the last chapter, Serenity. And this chapter, Serenity, my coach, my mentor, Bob Proctor, assigns homework to his students to write this out by hand every day for 90 days. He's been doing that lately. I haven't gotten the orders, but maybe I'll start doing it. We'll see. All right. As a Man Thinketh, James Allen, Serenity, last chapter. Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. It is the result of long and patient effort in self-control. Its presence is an indication of ripened experience and of a more than ordinary knowledge of the laws and operations of thought. A man becomes calm in the measure that he understands himself as a thought evolved being, for such knowledge necessitates the understanding of others as the result of thought. And as he develops a right understanding and sees more and more clearly the internal relations of things by the action of cause and effect, he ceases to fuss and fume and worry and grieve, and remains poised, steadfast, and serene. The calm man, having learned how to govern himself, knows how to adapt himself to others, and they, in turn, reverence his spiritual strength and feel that they can learn of him and rely upon him. The more tranquil a man becomes, the greater is his success, his influence, his power for good. Even the ordinary trader will find his business prosperity increase as he develops a greater sense of self-control and equanimity. For people will always prefer to deal with a man whose demeanor is strong and equable, right? The strong, calm man is always loved and revered. He is like a shade-giving tree in a thirsty land, or a sheltering rock in a storm. Who does not love a tranquil heart, a sweet-tempered, balanced life? It does not matter whether it rains or shines, or what changes come to those possessing these blessings, for they are always sweet, serene, and calm. That exquisite poise of character, which we call serenity, is the last lesson of culture, the fruitage of the soul. It is precious as wisdom, more to be desired than gold, and even fine gold. How insignificant mere money-seeking looks in comparison with a serene life, right? A life that dwells in the ocean of truth, with a capital T, beneath the waves, beyond the reach of tempests, in the eternal calm. How many people we know, who sour their lives, who ruin all that is sweet and beautiful by explosive tempers, who destroy their poise of character and make bad blood. It is a question whether the great majority of people do not ruin their lives and mar their happiness by lack of self-control. How few people we meet in life who are well balanced and who have exquisite poise, which is characteristic of the finished character. We all know those people, and they're rare, unfortunately. Yes, humanity surges with uncontrolled passion. It's tumultuous with ungoverned grief. It blows about by anxiety and doubt. Only the wise man, only he whose thoughts are controlled and purified, makes the winds and the storms of the soul obey him. Tempest-tossed souls, wherever ye may be, under whatsoever conditions ye may live, know this: in the ocean of life, the isles of blessedness are smiling, and the sunny shore of your ideal awaits your coming. Keep your hand firmly upon the helm of thought. In the bark of your soul reclines the commanding master. He does but sleep. Wake him. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Say unto your heart, peace, be still. I'm going to read that again. Tempest-tossed souls, wherever ye may be, under whatsoever conditions ye may live, know this: in the ocean of life, the isles of blessedness are smiling, and the sunny shore of your ideal awaits you. It awaits your coming. Keep your hand firmly upon the helm of your thought. In the bark of your soul reclines the commanding master. He does but sleep. Wake him. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Say unto your heart, peace, be still. The end. Oh, y'all, that was so good. I'm so glad that I did this. It was so good to share that with you. Keep your hand firmly on the helm of your thought, of your ship. This is a big old ship, like a ship on the ocean or a rocket ship. Wherever we put the coordinates, whatever we type in to the Google search bar engine in this great machine is where we will go. Our mind is a powerful computer beyond anything we've ever seen. And whatever we think, we're putting into that Google search engine. And it will fetch, it will search, it will return all of the results, the millions and billions the results of the search. And it'll create an algorithm. That's all we'll see over and over. I was using this example during the holidays. I think I was looking up tamales. All in my feed, everywhere, tamales. I'm like, okay, chill out, dude. I just looked it up once. I don't want to have like a world full of like tamales forever. What are you putting in that search engine? What commands are you giving your ship? Because that's where you're going to go. Are you on the island you want to be at? Or are you like Tom Hanks, lost and scared? Any moment you can change. Yeah, we're in control of our thoughts. And yes, it could be hard at first, but it's about control. It's about learning to control. It's a muscle. I am going to continue reading Neville Goddard, which we started last week, and started having a lot of fun with it. I did. I really got into that spirit of his deep metaphors. So deep. Whew. And I really wanted to just throw in As a Man Thinketh by James Allen because it's my favorite book. So next week, I will, on request of a sassy fan up in here, I won't name names, but Neville Goddard will be returning next week. Neville Goddard, Your Faith is Your Fortune. We will continue. We only got to like chapter 3 or 4 out of like 27. but it was good. I was really being inspired with all of my fun metaphors. Happy Friday, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching, as always.